Hello and welcome to the YOUmedia Comic Book Podcast. I am your host, Montgomery. I am the librarian here for Southgate Regional. We are going to be talking about Venom to a degree here for the new movie, but we'll talk about other Venom incarnations as well. So before we get started, we're going to do a quick introduction. So over to my left, we have...
Name's Angel.
It's your boy AJ. I'm putting my phone away.
My name's JF/Galen.
I am Xavier.
I'm Marcus.
Cat Food Geo.
Cat.
We'll just
The
stick with that.
catchphrase is not working right now.
It's not.
All right, so
Generator broke.
since Gio and I were the only two that got to see Venom, we're going to be talking about the other incarnation of Venom from Spider-Man 3. And we'll talk about Venom in some regards because Sony is planning to introduce more characters from the Spider-Man universe. So we'll at least have some...
Terrible idea.
we'll have
with
some
you on that.
ideas about that in the future. So let's go back to the Wayback Machine where, was it 1990? Who cares? Spider-Man 3 came out. To much of our dismay, that was really terrible. But we did get a first sense of what Venom would look like in a Spider-Man suit. So let's start off with the topic with what did you least like about the Spider-Man 3 movie? Is it
What did I least like?
least like?
The bad guy scene when he was walking down the street
Which one?
with Peter Parker walking down the street acting
Oh,
like a cool
the-
guy and
the
stuff.
emo Parker?
Yeah, emo Parker.
Yeah.
Isn't this the part of Spider-Man where Gwen dies in the end?
No.
No,
That was
that's
the Amazing
Spider-Man
Spider-Man with Andrew
2.
Garfield. This is the one with Tobey Maguire.
That was somehow worse than the one we're talking about right now. But
I know
we'll
it
discuss that
was, but
later.
I was just asking to make sure. I don't remember this movie too much. I would probably have to say I would say it's controversial, but probably the choreography.
Oh, the fights?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I never watched this either.
I would most likely say the part where he was in whatever he was, the club, and then he started to dance or whatever he did. And that was
Oh,
like,
okay.
what are you doing?
That's Marcus, too. Talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing about Spider-Man was that we did see the vengeance side of Venom, which kind of latched on to Spider-Man. So did you like at least the design of that creature effect? What they did with Venom on the screen?
I think Venom looked quite original. Like he doesn't look like a lot of the other villains where they're all spooky costume. Like this guy seems quite intimidating. Like if you were to see him in real life, you'd be like scared in your pants, like you'd be shaking in your boots.
Bro,
type
he's
thing.
pretty tall too. He's like
Yeah.
6'2" or something like that.
He's
He's
probably
pretty tall.
more.
He's pretty tall.
He's
like,
probably more because in the previews he looks like
And,
like the CGI in the new movie looks crazy. I saw it in the
Yeah.
trailer.
You see how you saw shining stuff? It looks actually real, you know?
Yeah.
I was
Compared
like,
to like back then.
I like I said, I would probably be intimidated, but he's just very unique. That's the main reason why I like him. But yet again, I'm not really into superhero movies, so what can I say?
Right. Well, from the cover of issue number 252, this is back in the day, where we have the original Spider-Man costume, or the new costume, I should say, in which he's all
1984?
black and just has the white Spider-Man emblem. Now, it was kind of close to that, but Spider-Man suit was just completely all black in the movie, and I was kind of okay with that. But the vengeance factor, I think, was kind of different because we never saw that kind of side. At least I don't think I read that in the comics, that he acted that way in the new suit, or am I mistaken?
I don't remember.
Because I don't remember him acting the way he did, like in the movies, where he was seeking the whole revenge, and that's what kept feeding Parker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the effects of the suit. I
Right,
think.
but was that like that in the comics? I don't think I remember reading that.
I've never read
was.
the comics.
It
like,
was.
The video that I saw recently today, it wasn't with Venom. It was with I think Riot, which is
The other
another
symbiotes.
which is another symbiote. In the comic book page, it was like brains, power, revenge, and some other stuff that it said. So like revenge was like part of that, but like I don't know, it's like if that's what like he goes off of.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. You know, I'm pretty sure not in the new one. He's not really looking out for revenge. He's just kind of biting people's heads off.
Well, aside from that, yes. And that's why it's a little bit different Venom than we see from Amazon. From Amazing Spider-Man 3 is completely a little different from what we see in the new Venom movie. So that's why I was kind of curious.
Yeah, they make Venom look completely different in the new movie.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
mean,
better.
I think in the new movie he is a lot more menacing. The one thing that it's not much of a spoiler here, but if you notice, there is no web shooting in
Yeah.
the Venom movie. So in that movie and in the comics, he does have the web fighting and that ability.
I don't know if this is also true, but like in the Venom movie 2018 versus like the Spider-Man 3,
Mhm.
he actually was talking to Eddie. I don't know if they were talking in Spider-Man 3, but like he was actually like communicating with him.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember myself. I'm sure there was just some kind of weird feelings that he was getting, but nothing about having conversations. Not like they did in the Venom.
Didn't the suit just take over? Like,
Yeah, exactly. So there was no, and what the movie established was that there's a relationship between the symbiote and the host. But in the movie for Spider-Man 3, it just didn't seem like there was any kind of personality to the suit other than it's a thing that's on him and that's it.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, what I think about the new movie of Venom, they sugarcoated it. If they, no, I seen trailers and I've seen scenes.
Full movie though, so you can't like fully like judge it. Say the. You never seen like the full movie, so you can't like fully say that just off of trailers.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But from what I seen, they sugarcoated the thing because he should be more deadlier than that.
That's from what you've seen, but like again, you haven't seen the whole movie, so you don't really know that.
Point taken.
To
well,
be
what do you mean by
honest,
sugarcoating?
Like
Like
the
it's
way-
PG-13. They should like just, when he bites off their heads, it should have just never like skip that part. It should've
Well,
just
I
left
have
it in.
I have a controversial question here. This might be going a little off topic, but regarding Venom, in the next Avengers movie, do you think he'll have something related to that?
no,
No.
That's a little premature.
He's like Deadpool.
He's like Deadpool.
The movie Venom is like they don't really put Deadpool in mixed with the Avengers, even though they're like in the same city, same state, but like he's like a different part of something. It's like branches of Marvel.
Right.
it's other universes is what you mean.
Kind of, but
Not really.
going to the Deadpool thing, they're going to re-release it for Christmas into a PG-13 version of Deadpool, a la Princess Bride.
Hey,
So the only reason why they're doing this is that Deadpool can cross over to the Marvel universe. So that's why PG-13 Venom was PG-13 Venom and not rated R, which I would have loved to have seen a nice rated R.
I think it would have been a lot better if it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody gets me right.
yes.
It should have been rated R,
Yes.
If you're going to do a Venom, you might as well go all out.
not sugarcoating
And if you
it.
wanted to impress a lot of the older Marvel fans, like if they wanted a classic Marvel movie, because we haven't had a decent one in a while. Like Infinity War was just like stupid. Like in my opinion, it's just like, and like you can make humanity disappear. It's stupid.
Well, we had 10 years leading up to that point. That's
Good movie,
that's what makes it
too,
even more
yeah.
that build up to just that.
Yeah, just that. It was crazy.
That's
yeah.
We'll put that aside for another day because I want to get sidetracked. But the other thing is that because Sony is doing this, like Marvel, in their Sony universe of Marvel characters, not the cinematic universe that Marvel's doing.
Sumuk.
Yeah, Sumak. They want to include Spider-Man. And since they didn't do that in this movie, that left the door open so that he meets Spider-Man in the future. So my question to you, if you had the choice and your voice is going to be heard right now, you want Peter Parker or Miles Morales to meet Venom?
Hmm.
Peter Parker. Peter Parker. Keep it original.
Peter Parker because pizza time. You have to have watched the movie if you don't get this reference.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I've
It increases
maybe-
his pizza time like by so much. It like cut it in half. He was like on his little scooter.
You got that one, Chief. But yeah, I would say Peter Parker.
Yeah,
Just
like no
because.
one would no one would expect Miles Morales to come in.
Yeah,
contact
plus it
with
wouldn't make that much sense either.
because he's in a whole different universe.
But
Like
that's-
it's bad enough they already started off the movie with not having him meet Spider-Man.
And
before he
I would
becomes
say,
Venom, so,
you know
like,
what?
yeah.
You guys already screwed it up anyway, so let's throw in Miles Morales.
You're just gonna screw it up more. Though. What? Do you want them to?
It-
I mean, it's
It's-
already in a
it-
mess.
Right, it's Sony's universe of Marvel characters, so let's just go ahead and throw Miles in there.
mean,
I don't
like,
think you need to throw Tom Holland back.
Would it be animated or live action?
No, well, we'll talk about the animated part in a moment, because that was in the
In the
post
trailer.
credit scenes, which I'm like, why am I watching a scene from the animated movie that? Because this is Sony's universe of Marvel characters. That's how they're promoting stuff. I'm like, I don't like how they're doing things.
Oh, the post credit of Venom.
In Venom, there's two.
And
There
this is
is?
why I don't watch super movies in general, because it's super confusing.
Well, it's not
Wait,
super
what?
It's not even
confusing.
that
It's just
confusing,
more
really.
of they're promoting the next Spider-Man movie,
Yeah.
which is the animated one that's coming out into
Oh,
the
Miles.
Spider-Verse
With Miles.
with Miles
Oh.
Morales. So I'm like, I don't think that's a bad idea to have Miles Morales, since you didn't have Peter Parker anyway, with the introduction of the suit and Venom and his whole backstory. Let's go in a different direction.
I feel like it's just one of those things that we just have to wait and just find out if we like it. Because, like, consider with the Venom movie, it was kind of overhyped, if you kind of think about it.
Well,
Who was hyping up the Venom movie?
Like, quite a few people. Like,
Who are these people? I've never met them before. I'd love to meet them.
just like some movie critics, like, if you look up, like, they were like, my review on Venom, I completely regret hyping this movie. There's people that actually wanted this movie to be successful. But I kind of knew from the start, yeah, it doesn't look too good.
I mean, like, I don't know how to judge Marvel movies. Like, I don't know, like, what they're supposed to be good on. But, like, if it depends on, like, the film. If I watch it and I like it, you guys can say it's trash, but I'm gonna, like, I liked Venom, the movie now. Like, that was a great movie to me.
Yeah, you're entitled to your own opinion. We're not saying anything about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like how do you judge a Marvel movie? What do you judge it upon?
You critique it on
I-
like the acting, the plot,
There's so much
the
Factors.
fights.
Yeah.
The backstory.
the
Yes.
character chemistry,
Yeah,
how the
and the
characters
character
intertwine with
development,
each
yeah.
other, like their bonds.
Which was good.
I mean, I haven't watched it, so I
Neither
I
can't.
don't watch it either, so I can't say. Yeah.
But
Wah, wah, wah.
from what I've heard, it seems very lacking, and the choreography was like whatever.
So is there good reviews or bad?
Like look at Star Wars. When Disney bought Star Wars, that's it. Like the series started just declining over time.
Yeah.
Like the Solo movie was all right.
Disney,
Like the Han Solo
s-
movie.
Stick to theme parks and your little TV shows. Don't go into movie business. You're not good there.
No, but 7 was a good one. Star Wars 7 was a good movie.
Star Wars.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
Wait, which one was
All
that
right,
one?
Before we get
That
into the whole
was-
Star Wars thing, because we can go on forever on this, let's just stick to this one topic, going back to the Sony Universe stuff, because I know we can trust me, we can have a whole conversation easily on this. But let's go back to the whole point on Venom. One of the things that, has anyone seen the movie called Life
Yes. I
No.
have.
that came out in 2017?
With Ryan Reynolds.
No.
Okay. Basically, they're dealing with kind of like a symbiote. They found an alien life form that's very like a Venom-like creature that takes over the International Space Station, and it makes its way down to Earth.
Oh wait.
So it crash lands into.
Is that the movie where the lady gets split up and the monster's in the wrong pod and she's drifting off?
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
I
Yes.
did
Yeah.
see that movie.
So it's not a bad movie.
it was
and
amazing. I love
What
it.
would have been kind of cool is like Sony owns that. They could have tied that into like, oh, that's the prequel to the Venom movie. That's how the creature gets onto Earth. They didn't do that. But they did something similar in the opening scene in which the ship that was coming in was for a Life Foundation
Oh.
group
Yeah.
that brought in these symbiotes and crash lands to Earth. So it was very similar to the exact same plot and ideas. I just wish they were a little bit smarter about what they're doing with their characters.
That's Sony for you.
Yeah. Hence why I keep saying Sony Universal Marvel character. It sounds very clunky, and that's how it feels sometimes watching. They're trying to kind of make their own cinematic universe, it's not necessarily working. But for all intents and purposes, as bad as I thought the villain was, which is Riot, Tom Hardy's performance, I think, was decent enough that you get to care at least for him and for Venom, because they do have a good, kind of a weird working relationship that they kind of work together.
I can't judge acting off of trailers because they just add
Right,
stuff.
exactly. And that's the whole other thing, that you need to see this as the movie itself and kind of judge it afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Probably like next week I'll probably watch it.
So, one of the things that Sony is planning to do after this release is that we're going to get other cinematic universe creatures based on Spider-Man. So the next one's going to be Morbius. Does anyone know who Morbius is?
No.
The living
No.
vampire.
The living vampire, he guessed.
What?
Yes. So
Finally, a good
the living
idea.
vampire is another of those characters that, if you know Spider-Man, if you know his comics, his characters, he's part of that universe. And that's going to be played by Jared Leto, who was in the Suicide Squad playing the Joker. So that's the next one. And I think I have a list there so you can see who else they're planning to do. You want to read some of the...
Nightwatch, Bill, Craven the Hunter.
Craven the Hunter.
No one wants to see Craven in a movie.
Thank you.
What is that?
He's a,
Basically, they take all the villains and they're like,
Yeah.
here, let's do a movie on one villain. And,
like
and
even the like actual like comic heads aren't gonna want to see a movie about Craven.
they actually want to do one on Sybil.
It's Silk.
No, Sable. No, Black Cat.
Sabretooth?
Silk.
Black Cat and...
You mean Panther?
No. There's a character named Black Cat.
Yeah, that's
And
a
Sable.
Spider-Man villain.
Yeah. So these are all part of the Spider-Man universe. And I'm like, you're picking out these random people that I'm like, I don't want to see a whole movie about Craven. That he's like, it doesn't
That's
make
not
sense.
gonna make any money.
Right, because you need to have Spider-Man in this.
Yeah, exactly.
So again, if you're gonna do this, you might as well just throw Miles to the wolves and see what he does.
I guess. Yeah.
I don't want him mucking around with Parker's name.
What is Silk? Who is it?
That's another.
Female Spider-Man.
Yeah,
more of
if
an
you look
assassin.
in our graphic novel
What is
selection,
Marvel doing?
if you look in the graphic
This
novel
was-
collection, we do
That's
have a
what
copy.
Sony's doing. That's
there.
all Marvel's doing.
Yeah,
This is why we don't buy the Thanos car. We don't support Marvel. Ever. I think DC Comics is better.
I like Marvel.
well,
Like, we're not gonna get into that.
It's debatable.
Yeah,
though.
that is
it has merits, but I am not saying I'm a DC fanboy, but I am. Anyway, not that there's shade against Marvel here.
Let's not get copyright strike now.
No. So the problem lies is that this is what we're going to have, is a separate universe from what Marvel has, with Tom Holland on the side, and then Sony will do their own little universe with these kind of nothing, I've never heard of this character movie.
I don't know how that's gonna go. Like,
But let's put
I'll
it,
tell you that much, Chief.
when we first started with Iron Man, did you even care or even know what the characters were coming before they started making those movies?
Absolutely.
Going back to Marvel's side, when they were building their universe. You remember those characters, or you like, who the hell is Thor?
I do.
I only watched
Every
the first Iron Man.
every Marvel person should know who these characters are.
Okay.
The only characters I didn't know in the cinematic universe before they came out to the movies was Guardians of the Galaxy. Other than that, I knew everyone there.
hmm
I'm with you on that.
I didn't know Vision.
Okay.
Vision and Scarlet.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, I didn't know those two
But
characters.
for that, you had to
until-
watch Iron Man. If you didn't watch Iron Man, you're not gonna.
Well,
know.
no, I'm just talking about in the sense of, did you know who these characters were before they made the movie? So if you knew from comics, they were part of the Avengers a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, but Guardians, I would agree with you, because they were different in the comics, and then they rebooted them to a different set of new characters that I've never seen before. Yondu is the only one that I remember in the original one, with the big tail fin over his head, and that he shoots arrows, space arrows, I guess.
Wait.
So we're not going far on this conversation.
Oh, I know.
With Spider-Man.
Because Sony, that's why. It's just Sony, man. It's like, what are you guys doing?
Exactly.
Make your mind up. if you're gonna make a Spider-Man universe movie, put Spider-Man in it. You might as well, whether it be a fight scene, they mention his name, something.
Yeah.
Just give
Or,
us some association with him,
Exactly.
not just.
It
a
wouldn't
villain.
be Spider-Man without Spider-Man. Right?
It wouldn't. It wouldn't. That's what I'm trying
Well,
to say.
that look, the question that you have to ask: can you do a Venom movie without Spider-Man?
You can't.
No,
No,
you
you
can't. There's
can't.
no proof of that.
Because Venom was introduced in Spider-Man.
You can't because Venom is linked with Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you wouldn't have any really.
Spider-Man
Potential
didn't
fight
exist.
scenes.
Venom wouldn't exist. Let's just
Exactly.
leave it like that.
Right, but in this case, no. We don't need Spider-Man now. Let's bring him back later. That's why I'm saying let's kind of forgo using Parker and go in a different direction with Miles.
Miles.
I would say might as well. I mean,
Yeah, like if you're just gonna like create a whole story for Venom, you might as well just continue it. You can't like just come mix it up already with
Yeah.
adding Spider-Man again.
How about
and
we
then you're
just put
gonna keep
Batman in it?
crossing over.
Right, it's like, how many times you going to see Uncle Ben die?
Too many times.
Too many
to count.
times. You don't want to see this. It's like, okay, one, not everyone's going to know about the backstory of Venom with Spider-Man because of the secret wars in the comics. No one's
Yeah.
going to care about that. So you just might as well do like in Amazing Spider-Man 3, they introduce him as a thing that falls to Earth. It gets stuck to Peter's shoe, and then voila, there's the suit. I don't know. I just think, again, Sony wants to do this. Fine.
To
Let-
be honest, we just have to wait till it comes out. 'Cause,
that's all we can do is just play the waiting game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sony has the chessboard right now.
you never know. It might be good.
I mean, someone's playing chess with themselves right now, but.
No, I know, but I'm saying they're playing chess with their audience, considering a lot of the people are very flunked out by this. Like they're very disagreeing on Sony's part because considering what we looked at here, they don't even know who's if you guys were to see this list, I don't
That's the
know.
list?
Bro,
Yeah.
I don't know
That's
how.
the list of
there's only one cast member available. All the other ones are to be announced. So my point is to you, Sony, get your game together, man.
Yeah.
Have a plan, a sheet of plans that you want to do, not just rush movies out. and
Well,
with-
that's the thing. They need to kind of in order to keep those characters, they have to make movies.
Yeah,
but rushing it is not gonna make a good
yeah,
movie.
you have to make a good plot. 'Cause
It's gonna look like a high school film.
Or a musical.
Let's hope it doesn't go that route, because then I would really not support Sony.
But yeah, I mean, there's 900 characters, and I'm like, I don't even know 900 characters in total, let alone just on Spider-Man's friends.
Wait, are there even that many characters in the Spider-Man world that
Apparently there is.
deserve a movie?
Right, that's the other thing. I don't think it does.
Yeah,
Did you guys ever forget what happened to Goblin? I mean,
Green Goblin, that's my
Yeah.
homeboy.
Yeah.
We're talking
They
about all the
forgot
other
about
villains,
him.
but where's my boy Green Goblin?
yeah, I
at?
forgot about him. It's not part of Venom, but
I have
It's
if
still
you're
in
gonna
the
start
Marvel
making
universe.
movies about the characters in there, you might as well just make one for Green Goblin because it was kind of
A
fan
lot of
favorite.
people loved him.
Yeah, it was kind of like a fan favorite. so
Green
you
Goblin
might as well, right?
was in Amazing Spider-Man, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And Spider-Man 3, because he
Yeah.
also did help destroy.
To be honest, his
kill
part was
Venom,
really good.
Or get rid of him.
and in all the scenes he ends up dying, which is why if they make a movie,
Dying.
Dying.
Yeah.
I mean, but
That's
who
what
would
I said.
Who would actually go to see a Green Goblin movie?
I
Not
mean, if
me.
it gets good reviews
Yeah.
and critics are saying something positive about it, I'll probably give it a shot.
What is there to know about him?
You don't.
I mean,
do you
Spider-
even
I mean, you
know
never know.
where he
You
came
never
from?
know.
Didn't Spider-Man?
I mean, they're throwing Silk.
1
I don't even know
through
who
3
Silk is.
Didn't-
Might as well.
Didn't Spider-Man 1 and 3 already cover who he is and
Not that I
what he
remember.
does?
Not really. They just showed him.
Yeah,
as a
he just
villain.
came as a villain. He just
He just
Yeah,
came in
like-
his little hoverboard. What's up,
Yeah.
guys?
yeah.
I mean,
started throwing his little bombs.
what
at
what will
everybody.
Norman Osborn be doing that we'd want to be interested in if Spider-Man's not there? You think we're trying to watch a 10-minute scene of him working on science experiments? No, we're not trying.
Yeah,
I mean,
to be
you never
honest.
know, Chief.
No, I'm not. I
No.
don't want to see that.
Well, here's the thought. We brought up Solo before, that you guys kind of liked. Venom's also the exact same way, which he's an anti-hero.
Mhm.
If we're going to do Green Goblin, Do we make him an anti-hero, or we just keep him as a villain and go with that whole angle?
Probably anti-hero because
Yeah.
like some of his morals were like neutral. Like it's
Yeah.
one of those things that was very controversial because like because if you look at his script, some of the things he said is like it's difficult because those movies were actually good. The Amazing Spider-Man movies were actually good. Like
They were
I liked
The first and
first
second ones, I would say they were top notch.
yeah, they were amazing. Those had good writers. What they need to do is make like either whether it be a villain or an anti-hero movie with good cast writers, good choreography, and you would have an amazing villain movie. That's just all there
Right,
is to
but
it.
You need to have a hero, not be the exact same
Spider-Man.
person. No, that's what I'm saying. If you could, like, if you can't, right?
Spider-Man.
If you take out Spider-Man from the Venom equation altogether, can you do a movie with Venom? If you make him an anti-hero, you can make it work. Green Goblin's always been a villain, and I've never seen aside from him that he's willing to help out, get a stray cat from a tree. So
No,
I don't.
it's not like anti-hero. That's the thing. A lot of people think anti-heroes like they want to do something to save people. It's not that. They have some morals that are like a hero,
Mhm.
but their actions contradict
Well, I agree.
their thoughts.
Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy is a perfect example how he's not really the best example of a hero, but he's lovable. And that's why Ant-Man also worked on the exact same. He was a thief, but he was a nice thief. He
Yeah,
wasn't.
but remember when he got out of jail, he had the girl, so he had to he had that was his motive to
Right,
be
exactly.
better as a person in
Right.
general.
I've never seen something in Goblin that's going to be say, hey, he's not a bad guy.
I mean,
He's just
you don't know
misunderstood.
his story. He could have a backstory.
Well, from the comics, he's always been, either that green guy or some kind of chemical that changed him into that horrible creature and throws pumpkin bombs. And I'm like, that's what he does.
That's what they should have done for Halloween. I mean, it's a pretty good concept if you think about it, but they just have to make that really good plot to make it good. But like back to you saying, you can't have a villain movie without a hero.
Right.
So it wouldn't work out well.
Or have it invested so that one character is both the villain and the hero.
Well, I don't know. Like for the people who actually saw Venom, at the end of Venom, he was explaining to him like, good people, we don't.
Right, we don't do things, we don't eat
bad
them.
people. And then at the end, he ate the bad guy.
Right.
But like, that is the type of moral that like anti-heroes have.
Yeah, well, that's in that case, Eddie is the one is the good side teaching Venom, these are the rules. This is what we're going to do. We're going to be in one body. You can do this, not that. So that's kind of interesting. But I don't see like going back to the Goblin, splitting that into two people that's having like a split personality.
Yeah.
I mean, that I know, Green Goblin is just one person.
Right.
He's just like something happened to him, and he's like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So
It was Harry Osborn.
Right.
And
Or-
then it was the chemical that he made that he infused with himself, and then messed with his brain chemistry and stuff. And then he just put on a mask and went on a jet and was like, you know what, I'm
kinda
gonna
like
go throw
Bane.
pumpkins at people.
Bane-ish.
Oh,
So one of the things, this is a spoiler, at the end of Venom, is that we do get a setup for a sequel in which there's going to be another villain or a new villain, which is going to be Carnage.
who's Carnage?
Carnage?
And he will be.
I
played-
should flame you. You don't know who Carnage is?
No, I don't.
I don't know who
I mean,
Carnage
if you
is
tell
either.
me, maybe I could like get an idea.
No,
of
no,
him.
I've heard, it's like okay. Picture Venom, but skinnier and red.
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
pictures
that's what
of
Carnage
Carnage.
is.
I've
I
just
think
never.
I've seen a few like pictures of him and stuff.
Yeah, you've
No.
seen it before.
I like I said, I'm very behind on
But
hero movies.
wouldn't that be just going back to his plot?
Well, no.
Venom's plot.
No, but look,
No.
him, Carnage, and Venom, like they
Are
don't get along.
enemies.
Yeah, they're enemies. So like,
And
it's just like the plot of the
Imagine
actual
a-
Venom with him and Riot, who are also in the movie, but it's with Carnage, and Carnage is being played. I forgot the actor's name, but
Woody
he's
Harrelson.
He's a great actor. Now you see
Who
me,
was
now
in
you don't.
Solo.
Wait, who's?
Yeah. Oh, he was also in. Wasn't he in Guardians of the Galaxy?
No.
He wasn't. Oh well, then. Oh well.
Imagine
hold on.
Imagine a movie with a villain and a villain fighting. Like how?
That'd actually be a pretty good
That would be
thing.
pretty interesting.
Well, they did team up. Sandman and
Ve-
Venom teamed
Venom?
up. And
Oh
Spider-Man
yeah, that's
3.
true. They did.
What? Who?
And then
But I
Green
mean,
Goblin.
they fought at together, not against each other.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
And then that's when the Green Goblin became good and died.
Right.
Like, I
in the
knew I
third one.
shouldn't have trusted you, Spidey.
Yeah, which I was not happy about the Hobgoblin. So let's pray that we don't get, a Rhino movie
Amen.
in the future.
Please. Please.
We
So,
probably will.
the
Like,
Rhino-
I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
like, I could actually see
wouldn't-
that
A Rhino
happening. I
movie.
can
Oh
see
my
that
gosh! If
happening.
they make a movie about that silly Rhino and Spider-Man,
Like,
That'd be funny.
you can. It's like Fortnite at this point. Like, there's nothing that'll surprise you. Be like, wow. Like, Sony's just desperate at this
Yeah.
point.
I was like, we don't have enough money. We need to hurry up, get this income.
Make some
Make some
costumes.
new ones, make less income.
You know what would make them more money?
Mm.
If they sold all the Spider-Man rights back to Marvel.
Well, that's where Sony says, no, we're
That's
good.
Disney.
We're keeping this all. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so they introduced, well, as they did in Deadpool, not to get off topic, they first started, mixing him with X-Men in the first movie, the first Deadpool that they had. So like, in Deadpool was already like with X-Men like, in the comic books, but he was also like part of the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously left open enough so that you can introduce Spider-Man and other characters. But honestly, I don't see this going farther than, no, Sony, just do your own stuff and leave Marvel Cinematic Universe separate.
Because they also have a comic book with the symbiote Venom also coming in contact with Deadpool. It's
Okay.
called Deadpool Back in Black.
Okay.
And then there they
Sounds
explain
like
that Deadpool.
sounds like a boy band like album.
and then like in that comic book it explained that the symbiote came and then the first person to encounter it was Deadpool, and I was like,
Actually,
What?
no.
Deadpool is just a cartoon character, though. That's technically what he is. Like,
No, the
There's a
first thing
difference.
that the symbiote encountered was a psychopathic alien.
So
Then it went on
he
to
is
Deadpool.
a psychopathic alien.
Well, he was able to latch on with Cletus
Yes.
Cassidy.
Cletus.
And it was a perfect match for them. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be interesting if they do go ahead and bring in Carnage. So, before we go, do you want to add something, Noel? Did you see the movie?
No.
Oh my God!
No one saw that movie. I'm telling you.
The
There
whole
goes-
people. Why didn't you? Okay.
There goes our viewership.
Hype that wow.
No, I think it was. I think I've seen like more like
More of the trailers.
yeah like some of the like spoilers from the movie, and I honestly I want to see it.
But you're not gonna waste like movie tickets to see it.
Oh right,
Yeah.
it's like
There is such thing as torrenting.
stop.
That's not the YOUmedia way.
There's nothing you mean. Wait,
I'm
illegal.
saying there is. You know how many people done that? Like,
Illegal. Let me stop.
I
I don't know.
We all do
I
it.
just go to our friend's house.
No, I think
just-
like my new rule for like the year is like I always gotta watch one good movie and watch like one bad movie. So like last year it was like I watched one good movie with Baby Driver and I watched one bad movie with The Mummy. Right.
Okay.
This year I watched what's the name of the movie? Oh, sorry to bother you. That's my good movie for the year.
Yup.
Do I want to really like waste my bad movie on like Venom?
No.
Because what if it's
Waste it
good?
on a movie with The Rock in
Well,
it.
who are you gonna waste it on? Aquaman?
Oh yeah.
Wait, that's coming out this year?
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Or on
Oh.
Christmas before around the time.
Aquaman's gonna be terrible.
I'm probably gonna waste it on like the new Halloween. I don't know how to. I don't know.
People are
It-
saying
it's
it's
at gangbusters in the movies. In the
It's
theaters.
just like there's like 50 Halloween movies. All right, you got to stop chasing around Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael. Okay, it's done. All right, let that lady die peacefully, not with a knife to her throat.
a
or
butter
something.
knife to her
Very
neck.
passe. All right. So before we end things, any final thoughts about what they should do in the future? Any characters we should see or should want to see in the movies?
I feel like Sony
Squirrel
should.
Girl.
Oh yeah, if they're making a Craven
They
movie,
are
they might
doing
as well
a
do
Squirrel
Squirrel
Girl
Girl.
series
I want it.
on Freeform, I think, coming up soon next year. So
They should just put. I think all the movies that they have for Marvel characters, I think they should just like start mixing them, like bringing all the characters together.
They have so
if
many
Marvel,
characters in the
if Marvel
comics.
one day sees this, why did you sell this to Sony?
Because they were poor. That's
yeah,
why.
there were.
Yeah.
They were like, you know, we have all these characters. You guys want to do something with them? Here.
I was like,
And literally, until they worked with Spider-Man, which was what Sony wanted. Sony could have had a lot more, like Incredible Hulk and Captain
Yeah.
America and Iron Man.
Yeah.
Sony says, no, I just want Spider-Man. And
Yeah, that
that's
kinda folded.
what they kept. So that's,
I mean, I'm glad they folded, but yeah, they folded big time.
yeah.
I just want to see the Carnage person that's gonna come up. You know, it sounds interesting. Is there gonna be enemies? You know,
Yeah.
Gonna be a lot of action there.
My only problem, like, I would want them to keep like their like what they do with the symbiotes like minimum. Like I think the Venom movie is good just to have like a Venom movie because like Venom is a character is like
Poison.
okay. What?
Poison.
He's doing his Venom voice. Just ignore him.
This has been going on the whole time.
No, but I know
5
what he's
minutes
do-
out.
But if you had seen the movie, it would have been funny.
no, but I think like I hope they just keep everything that they're doing with the symbiotes is under control because like if they do make a Venom 2, what's next? They're just gonna add in Carnage and then they're just gonna add in all these symbiotes and it's like now it's all played out because now we know every single like Venom movie or whatever they decide to do. Like you're just gonna add in different like symbiote and that just becomes like bleh. Like because at the end of the day, it's like okay, like do we really like care about you like introducing us to like new symbiotes or whatever? It's like all right, like boring. It's boring. Sony do better.
We only have, 880 more characters still to go. We'll go from there.
Right, Carnage.
All right,
There's
so
3 other
on that
symbiotes.
note, that ends our Venom-ish review podcast. And in 2 weeks, we'll come back and talk about something new. And I prepare for the Aquaman come
Venom.
December. So,
Aquaman 8 out of 10. Too much water.
Oh, jeez, this
All right,
ain't
So
so
it.
IGN fans.
take
get
care,
it.
guys.
Bye
Talk to you
bye.
soon.
Bye-bye.